I am loud and
Start your
clear.
session, sir. Just 1 minute.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, you are loud and clear. Just 1 minute for your introduction, sir, if you allow me.
Problem.
Yes, sir.
No problem. No problem.
Okay, sir. Participants, you can see we have with us, as I have, let me inform about you participants to the resource person, sir, Professor Muhammad Atique, sir. Sir, these participants are assistant professors, associate professors working in different colleges and universities of India. As I have already mentioned that they are representing many states. I think it's every corner has been represented here in our course, and I think all near about all the universities have been represented. Sir, participants are very disciplined. Only one or two participants. There can be sometimes problems may be there when mic is open. Otherwise, or most of the time mic is not open. And as and when they have to ask questions, they open their mic in a very disciplined way. They know the etiquettes of online teaching and learning. As and when you will ask them to open their mic, then only they will open. Otherwise, they are on mute mode, sir. In order to maintain the discipline, they are actually they are helping us. So they are the disciplined participants, sir. In fact, now participants, as you can see on time, sir, before time actually, sir has joined us. Sir is Professor Muhammad Atique, sir, who is the director of UGC MMTTC SGB, Sant Gatke Baba Amravati University, Maharashtra. Sir has joined all the way from Maharashtra to deliver lecture on one of the important topics, that is academic integrity, research and research publication ethics. In research, actually, academic integrity is very, very important. Research ethics or publication ethics are very, very important. Nowadays, after 2018, there are actually punishments also if there is plagiarism, and sir will let you know what are those modalities in detail. So, sir is a very senior educationist of this country. Sir has published a good number of papers in various reputed national and international journals. Sir has presented many papers. Sir has been a very active resource person, very sought after resource person. In fact, he is regularly invited by academic staff, MMTTC centers. It was earlier academic staff college, so always name comes in. So it is MMTTC center right now. So he is regularly invited by the academic centers, and he is the expert of this area on which we have requested him. So, sir, thank you very much that you have given us time, especially during this time at 2 after the lunch or before the lunch. I don't know whether you have taken lunch or not, but it is a difficult time for administrator as well as for a teacher. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir, you can start.
Thank you very much, sir, for such a nice introduction, I should say. Right. And very good afternoon to one and all present here in this meeting. Okay, I could see around 78 odd participants are there, which is a good number, I should say.
Sir, one more thing I would like to add, sir.
Whether
I think second session is yours, sir. So, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, one thing, if you allow, one thing, just last thing, sir. Sir, I think second session will be yours. So after 30 minutes break, they will again join at 4.
No problem.
I think you will also make the things clear. So yes, at 4 again, they will be here. Okay,
yes,
sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor, for the information. So as Professor said, that I'll be the responsibility which has been assigned to me is basically research and publication ethics. So what has happened, that is, if you look at the historical perspective of teaching profession in general, because I am into this profession since 1990, so I've spent around 3.5 decades, right? So as a matter of fact, research was not so much included in the beginning when I joined way back in 1990. But what has happened over a period of time, now teaching and research, they go hand in hand, right? So it is I should say it is an integral part of a teaching profession, right? So research will be looking at from various perspectives, and as Professor has pointed out, that we will have a session from 2 to 3, and then 3 to 3:30 we'll have some discussion, or maybe in between. That doesn't make any difference, right? If you are allowed to, if you have any queries, you can fire in between as well. Okay, I do not have any problem, but It would be better if you pose your queries at the end of the session. And then again, we'll have from 4 to probably 5:30. So I'll be with you for around 3 hours or so, rather 3.5 hours. And I know that I am engaging a post-lunch session, right, which is one of the most challenging tasks. Anyway, very good afternoon to one and all present in this particular meeting. Okay, just allow me to share my presentation from the first. Yeah. Yes. Yes, sir. So I request all of you to mute yourself. Okay, moment I ask you something, then you can very well unmute yourself and you can come up with your answers or interaction, whatever is intended at that point of time. Right. So just I'm sharing my presentation. Okay. I'll share my entire screen. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. So I hope the slides are visible to you. Any one of you just confirm?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. And this is what we will be looking at in the very first session. That is, we will start with academic integrity and research and publication ethics. Probably in the second session, we will have some tools with regard to maybe ICT tools with regard to research in particular, right? So we'll just in the second session, maybe if time permits, so we will have some hands-on on some of the ICT tools. Because as a matter of fact, I am a man from computer science, right? And definitely, so as I said, that this research is nowadays, it is an integral part of any teaching profession. Okay, earlier the expectations from teachers were minimal, I should say. That is wherein quality teaching was expected. But what has happened over a period of time due to this accreditation process and so on. Okay, so research is again considered as one of the important aspect. So as I said, I'll be deliberating on academic integrity, right? So before I begin my session, I would love to have your reaction, rather your perception. What do you feel? What integrity is all about in general? And then we will just try to have a look at what academic integrity is all about, right? So any one of you, if you have what is your perception about integrity in general, and what is academic integrity? Okay, just to brainstorm. Okay, there is no other reason. Okay, I do not want to test your knowledge and so on, right? It is a very basic question. So what is integrity in general? Any one of you? Yeah.
To be honest.
Sorry?
To be honest.
Yeah. As the professor has said that honesty, it is nothing but the honesty. Integrity is nothing but the honesty. And when you put academic in front of it, it is nothing but the whatever academic activity you carried out, how much honest you are. It is as simple as that, right? So with this little, I should say, definition, we will begin our session. Okay, and this is what is there on the agenda, wherein initially we'll just try to examine the overview of academic integrity, what academic integrity is all about, what is the need, and then when it comes to research and publication, what are the various compromises most of the time, okay, the researcher made, that is duplicate publication, authorship and order. Okay, apart from that, we'll just try to have a look at scientific misconduct, what they call it as, that is fraud, plagiarism, okay, different types of plagiarism, okay, and fabrication or falsification of academic data. Okay, that is there on the agenda. And we will conclude our session with some hot topic in academic integrity, what they call it as the COI or conflict of interest. And at the end, we will examine what are the various organizations working in this domain, like say Committee on Publication Ethics, that is COPE, WAME, ICMJE, and IEEE Code of Ethics. So I know I'm addressing to diverse set of participants, wherein some of you may be from science, maybe humanities, or maybe technology and whatnot, right? So it will be a very broader perspective we'll have, but we'll just try to understand what this issue is all about. And what UGC says, our regulating body, that is University Grant Commission, what is their perception about this particular aspect? So as I said, that is before starting the deliberation, okay, we need to understand, that is, as I said, that is integrity means, academic integrity is nothing but the honesty. So whatever you do, whatever small stuff you write, okay, but why do we write? We need to understand. Okay, so there are certain points which I have jotted down here, okay, which will give you an insight. Why do we write? Okay, so there are numerous reasons, but again, this is not an exhaustive list. Okay, this is simply an indicative list wherein jot down certain points wherein it is expected that you must write. So before joining the session, I was going through your interaction wherein your coordinator was asking you that you will be having the zero-headed test, and then at the end of all the session, again, they will conduct some test. So many times we write for completing an assignment. Okay, maybe in this case, some examination will be conducted, but it may happen if your coordinator decide, okay, he or she may go ahead with what they call it as assignment. So that is one obvious reason wherein it is expected that we must write. Many times we write for conveying the information. Many times we write for expressing our thoughts. Okay, and as I said, because research is nowadays, it is becoming integral part of a teaching profession. Okay, so it is many times we write for publishing our work. Okay, so that we can get the recognition in the research community in the domain in which we are working. Many times we write for fetching some grants from various funding agencies like, say, UGC, DST, AICT, and so on. So again, proposal, it is expected that you have to write something which is completely new. Okay, many times we write for becoming famous, particularly those who are from, you can say, literature background. Okay, they follow this approach. Many times we write for organizing our thoughts, right, and remembering our thoughts. You can say maintaining historical records. Historian usually writes. Okay, so there are numerous reasons wherein it is expected that whether you are a student or you are a participant or you are a researcher, okay, it is expected that you must write. Okay, but if you look at the curriculum, okay, I don't know, I'm a man from engineering background. Okay, we have never ever been taught that is how to write. Right. So we don't have any subject specifically wherein it is taught to us that is this is the way in which you should write a you can say paper or maybe examination again. Okay, or maybe an assignment for that purpose. And that is the reason, okay, many times we commit mistake when it comes to writing. Okay, maybe intentional, unintentional, we'll just try to explore all those possibilities. Okay, and what are the various, you can say, the penalties for that, as somebody has touched upon, right? So these are the reasons, that is why do we write. As I said, that is, we will just try to examine what is the need of academic integrity. So if you look at this slide, okay, you can very well understand that I have quoted some 5 famous plagiarism cases in its history. Okay, and if you just simply go through the slide, you will be surprised, rather astonished to see big names like, say, Michelle Obama. Okay, I will not indulge into the controversy involved, whether they were really accused of what should I say, plagiarism and so on. But the idea behind putting this here is that is we need to understand the academic integrity, right? So if you look at the very first case, which was, I think, blown up disproportionately way back in 2016, was a speech made by Melania Trump versus Michelle Obama, right? Wherein Melania Trump has been accused of plagiarism for a speech she made at the Republican National Convention 2016. Okay, similarly, if you look at Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling versus, I'm sorry if you are, hello, whether am I audible or there is some issue with regard to, yeah, hello. Okay, so if you look at the second case, that is wherein Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling versus Atique Jacobs. right? Wherein Adrian Jacobs claims that she stole many of her ideas for Harry Potter, right? Again, as I said, we will not dig all these things in greater detail, okay? Because our idea is to simply understand what is the need of academic integrity and so on. So if you look at the fourth case, it is basically the game pong created by Atari versus Magnavox, okay, which was during 1970s. Okay, Atari have been accused of plagiarism by Magnavox. Okay, then if you look at the fifth and the last case at international level, it was Da Vinci Code written by Dan Brown. Okay, and if you look at my slide, you'll find that most of the time you'll find that the source from where I've taken up this particular thing, right? So it is powered by orange.com, right? That is probably the source for this particular case. Okay, and this was the scenario at international level. And but if you look at the national level, again we have lot many things. Okay, that is this is typically at the national level, wherein again I have jotted down 5 famous plagiarism cases in India, right? So if you look at the very first one, 5 plagiarized article on Indian Foundation website, wherein big names like M.J. Akbar, okay, Swapna Das Gupta and others. Okay, again, repeatedly I am telling you that is we do not want to indulge into the controversy over all these cases. The idea is to simply understand why this topic is so important. Okay, the second one is chemistry professor accused of plagiarizing more than 70 articles. Okay, Sri Venkateswara University, right? Kavya Vishwanathan was accused of plagiarism for her debut novel. Right, then Stanford University wrote to late President APJ Abdul Kalam about Professor Rajput's plagiarism and so on. Right, and if you look at the last one, it is the plagiarism accusation against Dr. Brunathan and his group. So what has happened? That is during 2007 to 11, in our country we have reported highest plagiarism rate. And that has led to, you can say, the regulating agencies like UGC to take up this issue a little bit seriously. And that's why they have come up with different regulation and notification and so on. Right. I hope that is why we need to take, whenever it comes to research or publication, okay, we need to take this particular aspect very seriously. That was the motive behind putting all these cases, right? Let's try to understand. If you look at my topic, okay, wherein I think the first part is the academic integrity and the second part is the ethics. Okay, second part is the ethics, that is research and publication ethics. Now we'll just try to understand ethics in a greater detail. Okay, so as to understand this, I'll give you some scenario. Okay, let's say you are on a morning walk or a evening walk and you found some money lying on the street. Okay, now here I am giving you 4 possibilities. That is A, B, C, D, you may name them. Leave it as it is, pick it up and spend it. The third one is pick it up and give it to charity, and the fourth one is do something else. So let's say if I ask you to pick one option out of these 4, which one you will pick up and why? Yeah, now here I want some response from your end. Okay, because we are just trying to understand what is ethics and what is ethical behavior is all about. Yeah, yes, sir. Any one of you? Yes.
Sir,
Yeah.
good afternoon, sir. I'm Lavanya.
Yeah.
Sir, the question is pretty tricky. You said found some money. Maybe
Yeah.
if it's I'm on a morning walk, I'll try and check, ask around if somebody has
Okay.
lost. If
Okay.
it's a very paltry amount, I may give it to somebody there, somebody who has like a charity or something.
Yeah.
If it's a huge amount, I have to report it somewhere.
Great, great. So you intend to say that the question is little bit incomplete. Okay, actually it was intentionally kept in that manner. Okay, the idea behind putting this is that is again we will just try to make the things more complex. Okay, by adding some few more things. But time being, as you have rightly pointed out, I have not quantified the amount. Okay, let's say if it is a 200 note, then what you will do? If it is a bag full of 1 crore or 500 rupees notes, then what you will do? So whether what we are trying to understand is, if it is a small amount, as madam has rightly pointed out, what she said, that she will just try to find out who is the real owner of that money, and she will try to give it to the concerned person. Okay, but let's say if it is a bag full of 500 rupees, amounting rupees 1 crore, then in that case, as madam has said, that she will do something else. Okay, but in general, what is your opinion? So let's say if it is 500 rupees, then what you will do? And now I'm very specific. If it is a 500, or let's say it is a 200 rupees note, then what you will do? Now you have 4 options only. Okay, the very first one is leave it as it is. Second one is pick it up and spend it. Third one is pick it up and give it to charity. And the fourth one is something else. Now I've quantified the amount. Okay, and I am providing you with only 4 options. Any one of you? I hope you can unmute yourself. Any problem as far as unmuting is concerned? Madam, I think you have responded. I don't know your name.
Sir, I'm Lavanya, sir.
Yes,
I thought others would participate. I didn't want to be the only one talking. But
Okay.
again, I'll go for something else, sir.
You will go for something
around.
else. Even
Yeah.
if it is 200 rupees, you will go for something else.
Something else, matlab, I will ask around if somebody, they might have brought it if it's a walk to buy some fruit or something after the walk or something.
Okay.
I'll just ask around.
Okay.
If not, then I may give it as a charity to somebody.
Okay. So,
Sir,
yeah,
sir,
please.
Sir, there is only 2 options: leave it as it is or pick it up and give it to charity. There is, we can choose between them. The best is pick it up and give it to charity or something. But I think I'm agree with ma'am. Something else.
Okay.
I'm also
Something
agree
else.
with ma'am because
Irrespective of the amount. Irrespective of the amount, you mean to say.
Hello,
yes,
sir.
Yes, sir. Please.
Sir, actually, it is located in the place also. If it is in the university, we will hand out to the concerned person. If it is in the bus stand, we have to hand out to the government, like that. What is the place and how many people are traveling on that? We can inquire to get back it. Otherwise, suppose you have pick it up giving charity means is the person will be lost. Suppose it's not in 200, it may be 20,000 or 2 lakhs. What happened? If you are giving the charity means, what it means? The person will be already having some losing, no? We have to inquire it. We have to hand over to the police station or a government. It has to be inquiry and so on. Based on the situation, if it is a coin, 1 rupee coin, or we have 1 or 10 rupees, or 20,000, 30,000, and 10 lakhs, based on that situation, it will be happening, sir.
But I have quantified it. Initially, let's say I'm saying 200 rupees. No. Then what you will do, if it is, second one is, let's say if it is bag full of 500 rupees cost, amounting around 1 crore, then what you will do?
That is the depends on the place and the time is also. Suppose if it is night time, we pick it up that what it means. Okay, we will not.
Yeah, I have specified the timing if I am not wrong. If you are on a morning walk, meaning there by maybe 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, but we can inquire it on the street who are the walkers and we can give it back.
Great. See, our intention is
nature, sir, nature.
Yeah, nature. So,
Sir, sorry to interrupt. So whatever it is, we cannot spend on ourselves.
That is clear. That is clear. At least that is for sure, I should say. Right? That is for sure. That we will not spend it on ourselves. Okay. So pick it up and spend it in no way, whether it is 200 rupees or whether it is a bag full of 500 rupees. In no case, we will not go ahead with pick it up and spend it. Right? Now, I'll make it, as I said, that I will make the scenario more complex, the situation more complex. Let us assume that, and unfortunately, okay, you are hungry since last 5 days. Okay, you are hungry due to some or the other reason. This is a very, you can say, hypothetical situation, right? The idea is, let's say you are hungry since last 5 days, okay? and you found that 200 rupees note. Okay, it's evening time. Now I'm very specific. It's evening time, and you are on a street, or rather not on a street, rather you are on a place wherein you have lot of restaurants nearby. Okay, so what you will do now? You are hungry since last 5 days. Now just tell me what you will do.
Sir,
Yes.
I will use this money for because of I'm hungry.
Yeah.
So that's why I will use this money.
For taking your breakfast or lunch or
Yes,
maybe,
sir.
yeah.
Yes, sure.
And, so nothing will come to your mind. And let's say
Sir,
I am the real owner.
according to my opinion, ethics depend upon the money and amounts and the situation.
Yes, situation. That is what we are trying to understand. So if you are hungry, okay, then in that case you will never think in this manner because you are hungry. Nothing will come to your mind. What you will do, you will pick it up and you will go to nearby restaurant and have your lunch, dinner, or breakfast depending upon the time. And let's say I am the owner, then I visit the same place. What happens? Somebody told me that fellow has picked up that note and he is taking his lunch or breakfast or dinner. And when I approach you, okay, you narrated me the entire story. You said, sir, I was hungry, okay, since 5 days, last 5 days. And I picked it up and just I am having. Now you will be, even if you are the owner, he or she will come to know that that money is taken up by that person and he is having his lunch or dinner, right? So you will accept it. So what I am trying to clarify here is, as a matter of fact, your ethical behavior is determinal on various things. Okay, the very first aspect is the individual involved. As initially, when I have not, you can say, specified everything, even the money was not quantified, all of you said that one thing is for sure, that you will not pick it up and spend it. Okay, either you will leave it as it is, you will pick it up and give it to charity, or you will do something else. Maybe you will find out nearby police station and you will deposit that money to the nearby police station, or let's say if it is in a university premises, if somebody said you will hand over to the concerned authority, whatever, right? So what I'm trying to say is, it depends upon the individual involved. That is how you are grooming up to place. That is what kind of value system you have in your home. Okay, and second is the circumstances. Okay, as I said, let's say if you are hungry, then nothing will come to your mind whether it is ethically correct or not. You will pick it up and spend it on yourself. Third one is the moral intensity with the situation. Now I'm tossing one more term, what they call it as the morality, right? So whether ethics and moral are same. Now I'm trying to define, you can say, the ethical behavior in terms of moral. Yeah, what do you feel?
So this ethics reminds me of what comes to my mind is dharma.
Yes.
Which
Okay.
is maybe not moral. Moral is the general standard kind of code, but ethics is a slight deviation from that. Maybe dharma, the circumstances, the conditions may force us to deviate from the standard practices or fixed codes.
Okay.
I may be wrong.
So now I'm making a statement. Ethics will never change, but morals can change with respect to time. Am I correct?
Morals will not change, sir. Sir,
Okay.
something which is bad is always bad. Even if 1,000 people
Yes.
do it,
Yes.
it is bad. It is wrong.
So now we'll just try to dig it little further. But before moving ahead with the, you can say, the other aspect, we need to understand two theories based on which these concepts are basically derived. One theory is what they call it as the theory of absolutism, and the another theory is what they call it as the theory of relativism, right? So absolutism, now I'm trying to make it little bit more interesting in some way or the other. You must be aware about that is whenever we talk about absolutism, we feel that one set of rules, moral rules are there and rules common to all. Meaning thereby, whether you are a king or you are a prime minister or you are an ordinary citizen, it will remain same. Rules unlikely to change. Okay, it will remain as it is. Okay, and let's say if you are following the theory of absolutism, you are a person, what they call it as a dogmatic person. And this concept applied whenever we have absolute truth exists. Okay. On the other hand, relativism talks about many acceptable set of rules. That is, rules can change over time. And let's say if you are following the relativism theory, you are a pragmatic person. Pragmatic is very similar to a practical person, right? And there is no absolute truth exists. Okay, something is true today, maybe 5 years down the line, it will be, somebody will prove that that is absolutely wrong. Okay. Now, having said this, what do you feel, whether you would like to call yourself as a dogmatic or a pragmatic person? Yes, any one of you? Yes. What do you feel?
Sir, I'm tempted to say pragmatic, but then, sir, the situation you gave where
Okay.
somebody is hungry, I might have
Okay.
picked up that note, gone to the restaurant, tell them this is not mine, but I
Okay.
want to have, I'm hungry and get it. That is what I would do rather
Okay.
than somebody else pointing me. But having said that, relativism is the conditions which decide. At the same time, let me say, I'm caught thieving something or doing something wrong at
Mhm.
the traffic
Mhm.
violation.
Okay.
I'm caught and I'm paying the fee or something, and there
Mhm.
is another one who is also caught, who is a minister's son. He is let off. That relativism, I don't agree, sir.
Okay, okay. Great. Okay, so lot of you can say good thoughts are coming up here, right? So dogmatic is someone, okay, it is basically derived from dog, mat, and ick, right? So being certain that you are right, you feel that you are right and the other person is always wrong. So I don't think that none of us would like to call ourselves as dogmatic.
Yes,
That
sir.
is I have to have my opinion, but also I avoid being dogmatic. That should be you can say the correct underlying principle one has to adopt. Okay. So I'll just tell you that we are all dogmatic when it comes to certain things. Can you identify what it is? We are all dogmatic. Some areas wherein we are all dogmatic, wherein we will never ever question whether it is right or wrong. Okay, and we would never ever would like to have any kind of justifications of that. Okay, say for example, whenever it comes to your religion, okay, you will
Sir,
never. Yeah,
waking
so
up in the morning. Sir,
we are all dogmatic in that context.
sir,
Okay, yes,
dogmatic about brushing my teeth, not having a bed coffee. Very dogmatic about that. Maybe some of us, I don't know. Maybe I'm from
okay,
old school.
okay.
I may not look or accept somebody who's not doing that.
Okay. So as a matter of fact, it is whatever we are trying to understand is it is basically a mental conflict between two things. Okay, that is what is right and what is wrong. Right? What is right and what is wrong. But as I said, that is ethics and moral are not same. When it comes to ethics, we may call it as it is formal in nature. Okay, and it is, as a matter of fact, a set of rules and principles. Okay, so all these rules and principles, they are learned through deliberations and consensus. Okay, that is how the ethics are basically derived. Okay, and it is a broader concept. Okay, And the other term you may use for ethics is, you may call it as a broader concept, and you may call it as a customized morality. I hope you people are with me, and you may call ethics as a customized morality.
Sir,
On-
can I say something? Sir,
Yes,
I'm
yes.
interrupting.
Yeah, please.
Sir,
please.
like approaches, what we know that there is approach, and in between approach there is method. We can say that there is ethics, and in between there is morality. We can say
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes. But moral is more subjective, I should say. Okay, it is your own. You feel so. You may have your own right or wrong. I may have my own right or wrong, and it is for individual to decide. So it is basically a personal compass, one can say. Okay, it is basically a personal compass. Okay, whereas ethics is basically a framework. Okay, it is a formal set of standard. Okay, which is applicable to all. Okay, so I hope this is enough on ethics and moral, right? If somebody is having some another point of concern, you can raise it right now. Okay, we can deliberate on that, and then we will move ahead. So I hope that all of you will agree that none of us would like to call ourselves as a dogmatic person, because irrespective of whether you are from arts or humanities, or you are from science and engineering, we are all practical in nature. That is when it comes to behavioral sciences and so on. Okay, and we believe on one thing, that is, there is no absolute truth, particularly science, engineering, and other field as well. Okay, so because rules are bound to change, so we most of the time we follow the theory of relativism, right? But I have told you some example wherein we are all dogmatic. That is, whenever we talk about our religious belief, okay, there we do not want to question whether it is right or wrong. Okay, because it is your belief. You feel that you have a, you can say, 100% belief that the absolute truth exists. Okay, if you are atheist, then definitely that is again an exception. Okay, so having said this, let us try to move ahead with our own the main focal point we are trying to understand, that is, why do ethical issues arise in publication? Let us come back to the research perspective. Okay, so there are certain reasons for that. I very well remember when I joined way back in 1990. Those days, BTech in first class was the eligibility criteria for becoming a lecturer. No publication, nothing like that. But what has happened now? Let's say if you want to be a professor, okay, you have to have 10 or 13 years of experience. Apart from that, you have to have minimum 4 to 8 research publication to your credit with SCI index or Scopus index and whatnot, right? So if you want to remain as assistant professor only, then there is no problem. But let's say if you want to get promoted, okay, so enhance seniority and promotion. Now, since it is linked with your bread and butter, you are compelled to write. Okay, and when you are forced to write, as I said, that is, those days BTech was, you can say, necessary and essential criteria for becoming even professor. Okay, no, even master's degree was not required those days. I was talking about 90s. Okay, but today, since it has been made mandatory by various regulating agencies like, say, UGC and AICT, and that's why everybody wishes to get promoted. Okay, so enhance seniority and promotion. That's why we compromise many times. Now we are compelled, rather we are forced to write. Okay, the other aspects, rather the commercial aspects of some ethical issues in publication is the publisher's profit, company's profit, because for them it is a bread and butter, right? Okay, and that's why they are after increasing the citation and the impact factor and whatnot, right? So we will not dig into all those aspects, but some way or the other, okay, by means of the publisher or the company, and we as an individual, we compromise on certain ethical issues, and that's the biggest problem. How to what is the solution? Okay, how to address it? That is again an open-ended question. We'll just try to have a look at what academic integrity is all about. Now, I'm referring to a UGC New Delhi, okay, notification number 18 by 2010, dated 23rd July 2018, wherein UGC has categorically defined academic integrity as the intellectual honesty in proposing, performing, and reporting any activity which leads to the creation of intellectual property. Right. Now, under intellectual properties, you have very many things. It is not merely the research paper, but even patent, copyright, okay, design patent, and whatnot. Right. So it is an umbrella term which includes everything when it comes to research. Right. So what is it? It is the intellectual honesty in proposing, performing, and reporting any activity, any academic activity, or any research activity, okay, which leads to the creation of intellectual property, right? So they have categorically defined. Okay, now why do we compromise integrity? As I have told you, now it is just either you publish or perish. It is linked with your promotion, selections, appointment. Even appointments nowadays, it is mandatory. Let's say if you are applying for a associate professor position, okay, you have to have certain degrees, academic qualification, masters and PhD, and you have to have some additional research qualification as well. Okay, so becoming famous, okay, in certain countries, it is basically some monetary rewards are there, particularly in China. Let's say if you publish a Scopus Index or SCI Index publication, okay, the government of China will fund you some money. Okay, so since it is again linked with their, that's why you find a lot of Chinese in most of the research domain and so on. So it is a profession for some of them, right? So publish or perish, linked with promotion, selection, appointment, becoming famous in your area, and certain monetary rewards, okay, specifically in China. Okay, now what are the various compromises we make when it comes to publication? So the very first one is duplicate publication. What is it? Republishing the same finding again and again. Now, we have been forced many times that you have to have 3 publications in an academic year or 5 publications in an academic year. Now, you don't have idea. Okay, you are rather burdened with a lot of academic activity plus this research. Okay, so you have only one single idea. So most of the time, what do the people do? They go for one single idea and 3 different papers. Okay, in one paper they report the only you can say the block schematic of the idea. Second one, they report some exhaustive literature survey, and third one, they report maybe the results. Okay, so breaking the same paper, rather only one idea, into n number of papers, into many small papers or many little papers, what they call it as the slimy slicing. That comes under duplicate publication. Or submitting the same manuscript to 2 or more journals at once. Okay, so may be possible. That's why most of the time whenever you go for submission to any reputed journals or any conference, they will ask you whether the same paper is under consideration for publication in some other journal, yes or no. Okay, but if you say no, okay, and then you submit it, and later on again there are reasons to it. Okay, we feel that, let's say if it is not selected in this XYZ journal, maybe it will be selected in ABC journals and so on. Okay, that is again considered as duplicate publication. Right. So duplicate publication is one of the most common, you can say, the thing which is in practice. Okay. Then the second important aspect one has to understand is the authorship. So who is the author? Again, that has been defined categorically by UGC. They have come up with a clear-cut definition wherein author includes a student or a faculty or researcher or staff of HEIs who claims to be the creator of the work under consideration. Okay, creator. I underline the word creator. Creator meaning thereby you have to have some substantial contribution to the conception and design of a paper, right? Or acquisition of data, or analysis and interpretation of data. But let's say if you are not doing if you are not contributing in any aspect, and still you claim yourself to be an author, it happens many times, right? Because just because of the position you enjoy in a particular organization. Let's say if you are a vice chancellor, or if you are a, let's say, head of the department of the academic department, then in that case, many times your names are included. But as a matter of fact, you are not contributing. Okay, so drafting article or revising it critically for important intellectual content and final approval of the version to be published. Okay, now this is basically defined by ICMG. I'll come to that ICMG later on. But if you want to be an author, okay, you must contribute substantially in some or the other aspects of the paper, or the creation of the paper, or the intellectual property in general, right? So authorship is not that you can say you cannot qualify to be an author, let's say, if you are not contributing. That is what is clear. The second important aspect is authorship order. Now, who should be placed at first and who should be kept at number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on? So you need to discuss the order of the authorship at the beginning. Okay, you may revise the decision on authorship during the write-up process if required. But once it has been published by any publishing house, you don't have any right to revise it. So all authors take the responsibility for content in the manuscript. Let's say my number is 6th in the authorship order. Okay, let's say if everything goes fine, then no problem, I will take the credit. But let's say if something goes wrong, whether I will be given 1/6 of the penalty? No. Okay, all will be treated equally. Okay, whatever is the penalty, it will be given to every one of them, irrespective of their position. Okay, so you have to be very cautious, particularly when, let's say, if your students are submitting some research publication. Okay, you must take every care before submission. Okay, because later on you cannot deny that, well, I am not the author. So whenever you send it to some publishing house, normally they fire you an email wherein they ask you that so and so has submitted a paper entitled so and so, and you are listed as one of the co-author of the paper. If it is not so, please revert back to us. Okay, but let's say if you keep mum on that issue, it is presumed that you are claiming to be an author of that paper, right? And later on, if something goes wrong, there at that point of time, you cannot say, well, I am not the author, right? Now, disclose if any third party is involved in the writing. Okay, professional writer or consulting firm. As a matter of fact, you may take help of some third party. Legally, it is allowed, but for a specific purpose. Maybe typesetting the paper, maybe formatting the paper, maybe little bit grammar. Nowadays, this is little bit, you can say, even softwares are there. Okay, but if you are doing so, you must mention it clearly that you have taken help of so and so party for the creation of that paper. Okay, if you do not do so, and later on it is noticed that something like this has happened, okay, it may be possible that some action will be taken against you, right? Some penalty will be there. Then there are scientific misconducts. So broadly, there are two things. One is the fabrication and second is the falsification. So fabrication is making up data or result and reporting them. So you are getting ABC result and you are reporting XYZ result. That is fabrication, which is very dangerous. Okay. And falsification is manipulating research material. Let's say you are calibrating the equipment in such a way to get the desired result, whatever you are trying to get it, or changing or omitting data or results with the intent to change the outcome. Let's say 3 parameters you are getting on the positive side, which is your objective, but there are 2 parameters which are deteriorating. So what you are doing, you are eliminating those negative aspects. Okay, that will be considered as falsification. Okay, so there are 2 things: scientific misconduct, fabrication, and falsification, right? Which is again dangerous. And the third, which is almost, I think, known to everyone, is the plagiarism. Okay, what is it? It is when somebody represents the work of another person's idea, process, results, or word as if they were his or own, right, without proper acknowledgement, then it is considered as plagiarized content. Now, this is, as a matter of fact, taken up very seriously by various regulating agencies like, say, UGC and AICT, wherein they have come up with certain penalties Okay, I'll come to those aspects, okay, later on. But time being, from the definition itself, you can derive that there are 4 types of plagiarism, right? What is it? It is basically the plagiarism of ideas, okay, wherein you are copying the idea, or rather stealing the idea. Okay, when one fails to acknowledge the origin of a thought, idea, or invention, and claims that idea as one's own. So what I'm doing, I'm taking your idea and claiming it as if it is my own. Okay. Second one is sources, wherein plagiarism of sources occurs when one does not attribute the correct sources for a piece of writing or an argument. Okay. I am hiding the original sources, reporting something else, and misleading the reader. Okay. That is again considered as plagiarism. Authorship. Okay. Plagiarism of authorship occurs when one claims authorship on entire work without actually fulfilling the criteria for authorship. You know what? Here I am referring to who is the author. Author is nothing but whatever we have seen in the earlier slide. That is, he or she must have substantial contribution in the creation of that manuscript. If it is not so, then he or she cannot claim to be an author. Okay, and the fourth one is very common, that is copy and paste. That is that is also known as verbatim or word for word plagiarism. Okay, when one copies or uses portion of the text as it is and paste it, or maybe you are mixing up 3 papers and creating the 4th one. Okay, that is the most common part of you can say the plagiarism, right? But all are equally treated. Okay, then there is one more thing which has come up, which is called as the self-plagiarism. What is it? It is a type of plagiarism in which the writer republishes work in its entirety or reuses portion of previously written text while authoring a new work. What I'm doing, I'm referring to my own paper. Okay, as I had said, that is, since we are short of ideas, so what do? We go for repeated publication on the same concept. So republishing the same paper already published elsewhere without due and full citation. Publishing the smaller scripted work from a longer and previous without due and full citation. So every time, let's say if you want to come out of plagiarism, this is a little bit debatable as well, because what happens, let's say if you are submitting a thesis, and most of the time, most of us, we go for publication in the beginning, okay, and later on you are trying to write a thesis on that, okay, and since you have already published certain papers on the same idea, it may be possible that you will get that contents at the plagiarized content. So it will be considered as a similarity index will be a little bit higher. Okay, so reusing data already used in published work. Okay, so the best way of coming out of this self-plagiarism is, that is, you need not publish any papers. Okay, in the beginning, submit your thesis and then later on go for the publication. That is the only way to come out of this self-plagiarism. That's why I said this self-plagiarism is a little bit debatable. Few people feel that it should be considered. Okay, few people feel that it should be considered as a plagiarism only, right? So you need to paraphrase in that case. Then breaking up longer or larger study into smaller sections and publishing same as altogether new work without due and full citation. That is again considered as plagiarism. Paraphrasing one's own previously published work without due and full citation of the original one. Okay, this is again, I am not saying, right, this is, if you look at the bottom line, you'll find that it is a UGC notice dated 20th April 2020. So UGC is, as a matter of fact, very serious about plagiarism. Okay, that's why, and they consider self-plagiarism once again as a plagiarism, right? So they take normally these things very seriously. Okay, and they have come up with a you can say certain notification in that regard, that how it is to be treated and what are the various penalties and so on. Okay. Apart from this, you have 2 more types of plagiarism, what they call as unintentional and intentional plagiarism. Let's say unintentional plagiarism, wherein you are paraphrasing poorly. That is changing this, what they call it as, most of the time, if you want to come out of this plagiarism, right? Most of the people, they go for paraphrasing. Nowadays, the paraphrasing tools are again available. AI-based paraphrasing tools are available. Okay, I will not advise you to use all those tools, but things are there. Okay, so changing the sentence structure, but not the words, or changing few words without changing the structure. Okay, that is paraphrasing. Or quoting poorly. Let's say if you put certain things in double quotation mark, it will not be considered as plagiarized content, because it will be, let's say if you want to define certain things and you feel that the definition given by some XYZ person is the best, you can take it as it is, but you need to put it in double quotation mark. Okay, but let's say if you are quoting it poorly, if you are not placing that quotation marks at the appropriate location, again it may lead to you can say unintentional plagiarism, right? Citing poorly, that is omitting an occasional citation or citing inaccurately, that is again considered as unintentional plagiarism. Okay, but intentional plagiarism is very dangerous. That is passing off one's own pre-written papers from the internet or other sources. What I'm doing, I'm taking your paper as it is, putting my name and claiming it as if it is my own. Okay, that is highly dangerous. So it is considered as intentional plagiarism. Copying an essay from the internet, online sources or electronic databases without quoting or giving credit. Right? Cutting and pasting from more than one sources to create a paper without quoting or giving credit. That is omitting the sources, omitting the authors, and you are not putting it in the reference section and so on, citing poorly. Okay, then that is considered as intentional plagiarism. Right? Now let's say if what is excluded from plagiarism. Okay, that is again 23rd July 2018. Okay, wherein UGC category says that is all quoted work reproduced without all necessary permission and or attribution. Let's say I want to copy a diagram, okay, from your paper. I can very well do that, but I need to seek your permission. Let's say if you are enjoying the copyright for that publication, and let's say if the you can say the publishing house, they are enjoying the copyright, then I need to approach them and seek their permission. Then and then I can copy and paste it. And that too, again, you need to write in the footnote that you have reproduced this figure with the prior permission of the author or the you can say the publishing house. Okay, all references, bibliography, table of content, that is again excluded. All generic terms, laws, standard symbol, maybe say phi, G and so on, they are again excluded. Common language or coincidental term, but there is a limit, that is up to 14 consecutive words. That is again not considered. Common language means well-established fact, maybe quote, figure, or information that is known to most of the people, which is considered as standard. Okay, that is excluded from plagiarism. Okay, and that's why whenever you go for a plaque check in your library or in your institution, they ask you to remove all this stuff from your thesis or the dissertation, right? So this is what is excluded. Now, let's say if you submit it for plaque check and it is observed that you are getting some, the software normally they report the similarity index. Let's say the similarity is up to 10%, then there is no problem. That is UGC allow you to have this similarity index 0 to 10%. So okay, 0 is again dangerous, right? 0 means again little bit question marks are there. So 1 to 10%, minor similarities, no penalty. But let's say if it is 10 to 40%, and I'm talking about from a student's perspective, let's say if you are a researcher, then the student shall be asked to submit a revised script within a stipulated period not exceeding 6 months. Within 6 months, you have to submit the revised manuscript. If it is 40 to 60, you will be asked to submit for a period, rather, so you will be debarred, okay, from submitting a revised script for a period of 1 year. And if it is above 60%, such students' registration for that program shall be cancelled. Right. So you can think of that is how serious this issue is. Right. So you have to be very cautious while going for publication and so on. Right. This is with regard to the student. Now, let's say if you are a supervisor, okay, what are the penalties? Okay, if you are found guilty. Okay. Say, let's say if it is up to 10%, no penalties. Minor similarities, no penalty. 10 to 40% shall be asked to withdraw the script. Okay. 40 to 60. See how harsh it is. Shall be asked to withdraw the script, shall be denied right to 1 annual increment, shall not be allowed to be a supervisor to any new masters for a period of 2 years. Okay. If it is beyond 60%, shall be asked to withdraw the script, shall be denied right to 2 annual increments. Earlier it was 1. Okay. shall not be allowed to be a supervisor for at least 3 years. Okay. So ultimately, while you are doing research, you are doing research for getting promoted, maybe some financial benefits and so on. And let's say if something like this, okay, it will not happen with anybody, right? But if it is so, then many times some universities they take on note of this in your service book as well. Okay, so you may face problem at the time of retirement as well. That is again very much possible. Okay, so that's why you need to take this issue a little bit seriously. Okay, and you should be very cautious while submitting any paper to any journal, or whenever your students are submitting. Okay, you have to take up this flag issue very seriously, right? Otherwise, it may lead to some serious consequences. Okay, so penalties we have seen, as I said, that is before we end our first session. Okay, I'll be talking on one important aspect, what they call it as the conflict of interest, or in short, COI. Okay, so COI, as a matter of fact, it is a very hot topic nowadays. Those who are into research, okay, they may be aware about it. So as a matter of fact, it is something wherein it exists when there is a divergence between an individual's private interest, that is the competing interest, and his or her responsibilities to scientific and publishing activities, such that a reasonable observer might wonder if the individual's behavior or judgment was motivated by consideration of his or her competing interests. Let's say you are a professor in a university department, and at the same time, one of your student, let's say he or she is working with some publishing house, and you are rather manipulating the publication process just by means of your relationship with that person. Okay, so if this is so, and later on if it is found that you have exploited your relationship for getting your work published and you have made certain compromises, okay, it will be considered as a conflict of interest. So most of the reputed publishing house, whenever they ask you to submit the copyright form, at the same time they ask you to submit a conflict of interest form, or COI form in short. Okay, wherein they ask you n number of questions with regard to your relationship with the publishing house. Okay, so it may be many times a student, maybe your close relative, and then so on. There are very many things they have jotted down. Okay, and this is typically given by what they call it as the World Association of Medical Editors. But nowadays it is common to almost all. Okay, this definition I am talking about, this I have taken up from this wame.org. Right. So what is it? What are the various types of conflict of interest? So normally they ask you a clear statement of examples of you can say the various aspects of this publishing process, wherein they may ask you to what kind of financial ties you are enjoying with that organization, whether you are having some financial ties, or if you are having some academic commitments, or if you are having, as I was talking about, some personal relationship with somebody who is working with the publishing house, or if you are having some political or religious belief, okay, which you are trying to exploit to get your work published, or maybe some institutional affiliation, right? So these are the 5 aspects wherein you will be asked some questions, okay, and it is expected that you must be honest while replying to all those questions. But let's say if you are not honest, and later on it is come to your somebody's notice and somebody complains about you, okay, you may be again penalized in some way or the other. So different publishing houses, they have their own code of conduct for dealing with COIs, right? So how to declare the conflict of interest? Disclosure forms are there, which are used to deal with COI, which includes a clear statement on what is to be declared, when and to whom, and most of the time it is to be declared before publication, not after publication. Okay, so what is to be declared and when to whom, format for declaration. So typically they have a format, okay, just like a copyright form, you have a typical format. A journal's roles in asking additional question or seeking clarification about disclosures and consequences. What are the consequences? Let's say if you fail to disclose certain things, for failing to disclose before or after publication. So some of the journals, reputed journals, they are so serious. Many times they ask you to distract your paper. Okay. So you have to many times withdraw your paper. Okay, and you have to submit the written apology. Okay, which may be published in the next issue of the journal and so on. And you may be even debarred to submit any publication to that publishing house for a period of 3 or 5 years. So they have their own way of dealing with this issue, that is COI, okay, and which is again very you can say important aspect when it comes to publication and so on, right? So managing of conflict of interest, okay, all relevant conflict of interest, typically they have everything on their side. That is how it will be handled. Let's say if something goes wrong, how it will be dealt with, and so on. Okay, and what are the various things one has to specify in the conflict of interest, right? So having said this, now we are moving ahead with the last topic on our first session, okay, which is various organizations working in this domain. That is the publication ethics and so on. Okay, so the very first organization is what they call it as the Committee on Publication Ethics, or COPE in short. Okay, we'll not go into the details of all the aspects, but some cursory look we'll just try to have with regard to these organizations. It was established in 1997. UK started with only 3 members. Then gradually 90 members, 1997 to 2003. 6 to 9, 3,000 plus members. Now more than 12,500 members, and from 103 countries. So mostly editors of reputed journals. And what is their tagline? Their tagline is promoting integrity in scholarly research and its publication. So they have 18 flowcharts for handling various issues. Now you may approach them for any purpose with regard to all those 18 flowcharts. Okay, and the URL for this COPE is publicationethics.org. Right, so you can explore it in a greater detail later on your own. Okay, these are some of the COPE code of conducts. What are the duties of the editor? What are the duties of the authors, and so on. I will not talk much on this, but you may later on explore these in a greater detail. Okay. Then you have core practices of COPE, wherein allegation of misconduct, authorship and contributorships, complaints and appeal. Okay, so anybody can approach them. Okay, COI and competing interest, journal management, post-publication discussion and correction. So again, most of the time we feel that we have published our paper, that is the end of the story, but that is not all. Okay, in reputed journals, they have post-publication discussion and correction as well. Okay, so somebody may challenge your results. Okay, and you have to, let's say you have reported something wrong, you have to accept it. So again, you need to come up with the corrections and so on. Okay, discussion and correction. So that is again possible. Okay, the second organization is the WAME. Okay, those who are from medical line, they must be knowing it. That is, it was established in 1995. It is again a global non-profit. All these organizations are non-profit and voluntary organizations. Association of Editors of Peer-Reviewed Journals, 1,900 members are there, and their URL is wame.org. Okay, again they have n number of things. These are some of the hyperlink you can explore later on. Ethics and professionalism. Okay, principle of transparency and best practices in scholarly publishing, publication ethic policies for medical journals. So medical journals typically they have their very, you can say, stringent guidelines when it comes to publication, because if you look at the money involved in medical research is huge. Okay, and that's why they have very strict code of conducts. Okay, for various aspects. So global health and politics is there. Again, peer review process very transparent. Other publication related issues, that is impact factor, registration of clinical trial. So for medical education, it is mandatory to register for a clinical trials. Let's say if you are not doing so, then impact factor is again a very important aspect. Again, most of the time, again, it is being manipulated. Okay, in some, that is again a different issue. We'll not talk much on that. But this organization takes care of all those aspects. That is WAME when it comes to you can say the medical education and publication research. Okay, again, conflict of interest is there, then authorship is there, whatever I have talked on, right? And they have a very good set of resources, WAME resources, wherein they have ethics case discussion, ethics consultation, ethics web resources, and so on and so forth. Even my blog is there. Okay, so you can have some discussion on some aspects of some research and so on. Right. Then we have one more committee, what they call it as the ICMJ. Only 16 members. Okay, very small group, but very powerful group. And again, it is one of the oldest committees, I should say, International Committee of Medical Journal Editors. It was established in 1978. Okay, and they have come up with what they call it as the URMs. Okay, that is uniform requirement for manuscript submissions. Okay, and that is again popularly known as Vancouver style. Okay, because what has happened, their first meeting took place in Vancouver. Okay, and that's why it is also known as the Vancouver style. Okay, so ICMJ is there. Okay, 78, as I have told you, Vancouver group. Okay, 1979 they have come up with the first URM. 1997 they have revised it. 2007 is the last version, and it is adopted and followed by almost all the large journals in medical education. Right, popularly known as uniform requirements, URM, or Vancouver style. Okay, and later on they have changed the name. 14 to 17, some annual revisions are again happening. Okay, but 17 is the latest one. After 17, I don't think there is anything as far as ICMJ is concerned. Then they have again categorically defined what are the roles and responsibilities of the authors, contributors, editors, and so on. Okay, then protection of research participations and so on. Right. Now, having said this, I think I have taken 10 to 15 minutes more, but this is all from my end as far as the first session is concerned. I would love to interact with you on these aspects. Okay, before that, just allow me to stop presenting. Okay, all right. Okay, so it's 13:15. Sorry, 15:15. Okay, so this is all from my end as far as the first session is concerned. Okay, so I would love to hear your. If you have any query, you can fire it now, so that we can discuss on those aspects. Sure. Actually, it was expected that I should keep 30 minutes for the discussion, but I have 15 minutes more. Okay. Yes.
सर एक प्रश्न था, मैं हिंदी से रिलेटेड हूँ, मेरा सब्जेक्ट हिंदी है। तो सर ये प्लेजरिज्म की जो बात आ रही है, तो जैसे हमारे यहाँ दो तरह से होता है, एक तो कुछ कथन हुए या कहीं से थोड़ा कोई सिद्धांत लिया, थ्योरी उठाई, और एक होता है हमारे यहाँ जैसे हम पोइट्री में करते हैं तो पोइट्री के कुछ अंश हम लेते हैं, तो क्योंकि हम उनके उदाहरण जगह जगह पर देते हैं, तो वो उस परसेंट में गिना जाता है या वो हम दे सकते हैं कितने भी?
आप दे सकते हैं मैडम, जब तक आप उसको साइट कर रहे हैं, यानी जहां से आपने लिया है वो, अगर वो सोर्स अगर आप कहीं ना कहीं रेफरेंसेस में डाल रहे हैं
जी, वो तो डालते हैं।
हाँ, तो फिर कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। देन इट विल नॉट बी कंसीडर्ड एज ए प्लैगियराइज्ड कंटेंट।
जी,
प्लैगियरिज्म कब होता है? जब आपकी कोई चीज मैं ले रहा हूँ और उसको अपनी चीज करके बोल रहा हूँ। अगर मैं आपकी कोई चीज ले रहा हूँ, ठीक है, और उसके बारे में अपने कुछ कमेंट्स कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन जो रेफरेंस सेक्शन है उसमें अगर मेंशन कर रहा हूँ कि ये मैंने आपके यहाँ से, ये बुक से यहाँ से लिया है,
जी,
प्लैगियराइज नहीं है फिर।
अच्छा, अगर हम उसको संदर्भ नहीं दे रहे, रेफरेंसेस नहीं दे रहे
तो
और हम कहीं से ले रहे हैं तो प्लेजरिज्म है।
जी जी, मतलब आप ऑनेस्ट नहीं है। आपको सोर्स अगर आप दे रहे हैं, ठीक है, आप एज लॉन्ग एज यू आर साइटिंग इट प्रॉपरली, देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम, है ना। जहां तक आपने, हाँ, जैसा आपका, मैंने अब आपका नाम डॉक्टर पूनम, आगे मैं देख नहीं पा रहा हूँ मेरे स्क्रीन पर,
पूनम रानी शर्मा
जी, तो डॉक्टर पूनम रानी शर्मा का भाई ये कविता मैंने ली है, और ये कविता को मैं अब उस पे मैं अपनी एक एक्सप्लेनेशन दे रहा हूँ, या जो कुछ भी स्टोरी लिख रहा हूँ, लेकिन मैंने आपका नाम रेफरेंसेस में डाल दिया और आपकी वो कविता का मेंशन कर दिया वहां के कि यहाँ से ली है, तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है।
तो सर इस तरीके से हम अगर 10% डाटा ले लेते हैं कहीं से, तो वो जायज है?
बिल्कुल जायज है, बिल्कुल जायज है।
ओके, थैंक यू सर।
जी,
थैंक यू सर, नमस्कार।
हेलो
जी बोलिए
सर
सर।
मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि आपके जो लेक्चर से थोड़ा सा हटके है, एक
जी।
ओपन एक्सेस जर्नल्स हैं सबसे ज्यादा आ रहे हैं, और बहुत सारी अब तो रेप्यूटेड जर्नल्स और रेप्यूटेड पब्लिकेशन भी चार्ज करते हैं। सर इसके बारे में मैं आपका थॉट जानना चाहता
देखिए, ओपन एक्सेस में सभी जर्नल्स खराब हैं ये नहीं बोला जा सकता है। आप कौन से डिसिप्लिन से है सर? मतलब
हूँ। सर मेरा केमिस्ट्री है, केमिकल साइंस।
केमिस्ट्री और केमिकल साइंस है। तो ओपन एक्सेस
हाँ
में भी सर जो पब्लिशिंग हाउस है, अगर आपको कोई जर्नल का ये देखना है, बोलना चाहिए कि रेपुटेड है या नहीं, तो उसमें कुछ पैरामीटर्स है जिसपे आपको ध्यान देना होगा। ओपन एक्सेस है इसका मतलब हरगिज ये नहीं है कि वो खराब है करके या वो अच्छा है करके। ठीक है, सो देयर आर
नहीं सर, मेरा मेरा
हाँ
मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है सर कि सब ओपन एक्सेस की तरफ जा रहे हैं और फी चार्ज कर रहे हैं, और बहुत सारा यानी कि जो नॉवेलिटी है लैक होती है और फी के
जी।
साथ में उसे एक्सेप्ट कर लेते हैं, तो मैं इसके बारे में।
नहीं, आप जो उस बारे में पूछना चाह रहे हैं वो एक थोड़ा सा इशू इस तरह से है सर कि ये एक बिजनेस मॉडल की तरह चल रहा है ना, जहाँ पे आपसे 20,000 रुपये 25,000 रुपये ले लेते हैं जर्नल्स, और आपको ओपन एक्सेस और इंडेक्सिंग भी देते हैं। ठीक है, लेकिन ये एक्चुअली आप क्वालिटी जर्नल्स की तरफ जाएंगे तो नॉर्मली दे डू नॉट आस्क यू फॉर एनी पब्लिकेशन चार्जेस। ओके, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम दे पब्लिश इट फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट। ठीक है ना। लेकिन ये जो एक जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ इन्हें एक मैं इसलिए एक थोड़ा सा मैं, सिंस दिस मीटिंग इज बीइंग रिकॉर्डेड, मैं ज्यादा ओपनली इस विषय पे बोल नहीं सकता हूँ, लेकिन मैं इतना ही कहूंगा कि ये एक बिजनेस मॉडल है, अनफॉर्चुनेटली बहुत रैपिडली ग्रो हो रहा है, लेकिन इसको कहीं ना कहीं रोकने की जरूरत है। और इसीलिए अभी अगर आपने थोड़ा देखा होगा तो यूजीसी इज कमिंग अप विद सर्टेन गाइडलाइंस, जो उन्होंने उनकी जो एक लिस्ट हुआ करती थी यूजीसी केयर लिस्ट, उसको भी स्क्रैप कर दिया
हाँ
है ना।
बिल्कुल,
तो
इसीलिए पूछ रहा था सर।
हाँ, तो वो क्यों किया है सर? क्यों किया है कि लोगों ने क्या किया कि एक आधे जर्नल में तकरीबन अब एक एक पर्टिकुलर इशू में 10 आर्टिकल आएंगे, 15 आएंगे, 20 आएंगे, मैं समझ सकता हूँ। अगर एक इशू में 1,000 आर्टिकल आ रहे हैं तो डेट इटसेल्फ शोज कि वो किधर जा रहा है करके। आप समझ रहे हैं मैं क्या बोलना चाह रहा हूँ?
हाँ बिल्कुल
है ना
बिल्कुल। और सर कभी यूजीसी में तो इतना है कि कुछ भी प्रिंट कर रहे हैं, कुछ भी पैसे लाओ और कुछ भी चल
बराबर,
रहा है। और
चल रहा है।
इवन इंडेक्सिंग जर्नल भी ऐसा कर रहे हैं। तो
जी
उसपे क्या है कि फॉर एग्जांपल उसी में सब्सक्रिप्शन आता है, मैंने पब्लिश किया, मैंने थोड़ा हार्ड वर्क किया विदाउट फी के, और दूसरा कैंडिडेट है उसे कहीं से फंडिंग मिल गई, उसने जो भी है लैक ऑफ द नॉवेल्टी के साथ में पब्लिश कर लिया।
जी
तो
जी
वहां पे थोड़ा सा क्वालिटी है। ये जो जर्नल है, जर्नल का रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है कंट्रोल द यानी कि क्वालिटी,
यस सर।
वो कर ही नहीं रहे सर।
वो अनफॉर्चुनेटली नहीं हो रहा है, इसीलिए अभी तो और एक नया शुरू हुआ है। आपने देखा होगा कि बुक सीरीज बहुत आ रही है, इसमें बुक चैप्टर करके पब्लिश होते हैं आपके पेपर्स। ठीक है ना।
हाँ
एंड एक्चुअली वो भी एक थोड़ा सा बिजनेस मॉडल ही है, अनफॉर्चुनेट है, लेकिन उसका भी स्कोपस इंडेक्सिंग मिल जाएगा आपको, लेकिन दैट इज नॉट कंसिडर्ड एज ए रिसर्च आर्टिकल। ये आपको समझने की जरूरत है। बहुत सारे लोग बुक्स में पब्लिश करते हैं तो इट विल बी कंसिडर्ड एज ए बुक चैप्टर।
बुक
ठीक है ना।
चैप्टर ही होता है सर। हाँ
हाँ, तो बुक चैप्टर को आप रिसर्च आर्टिकल करके बहुत सारे लोग कंफ्यूज करते हैं।
क्योंकि उसमें वेटेज है रिसर्च आर्टिकल का सबसे ज्यादा होता है,
जी
बुक चैप्टर है, कॉन्फ्रेंस पेपर है, इनका बहुत कम होता है।
सही है, सही है। तो ये सब चीजें जो आ रही है सर, ये एपीआई की वजह से आ रही हैं। तो ये जितने बिजनेस मॉडल्स हैं मैं जो आप बता रहे हैं, तो ये अनफॉर्चुनेट है। और इसी को रोकने के लिए अभी शायद मुझे लगता है यूजीसी ने ये किया है कि अभी आपको पीएचडी के लिए यू नीड नॉट हैव टू हैव एनी पब्लिकेशन, है ना। Earlier it was mandatory to have minimum one journal or 2 conference paper. So they realized that कि नहीं, ये सब प्रॉपर डायरेक्शन में नहीं जा रहा है। तो
सर आपका ओवरऑल लेक्चर बहुत अच्छा रहा, और मैं ये चाहूंगा इन फ्यूचर कभी आप एक लेक्चर इस पे भी, ओपन एक्सेस है इस पे भी खुल के बोले।
बात करेंगे सर, बात करेंगे। ओपन एक्सेस एक कंप्लीट डोमेन है जिसपे एक
हाँ
तकरीबन मेरे ख्याल से 1 घंटा बात की जा सकती है। तो दैट इज ऑल टुगेदर डिफरेंट, लेकिन उसमें भी अच्छे और बुरे दोनों प्रकार के जर्नल है सर, इतना ही कहूंगा मैं आपको। ऐसा ये कहना कि भाई ओपन एक्सेस है तो खराब है, ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते आप। यू कैन नॉट ब्रांड इट लाइक वाइज, ठीक है ना। या ओपन एक्सेस है तो अच्छा ही है, ये भी बोलना गलत है। ठीक है, तो देर आर वेरियस पैरामीटर जो आपको एज ए रिसर्चर देखना चाहिए। सबसे पहली चीज तो आप देखिए कि वो इंडेक्सिंग क्या है उसका। अगर आप साइंस या इंजीनियरिंग बैकग्राउंड से है, सो वेदर इट इज SCI इंडेक्स्ड, whether it is Web of Science indexed or whether it is Scopus indexed, है ना, ये डेटाबेसेस हैं। ये डेटाबेसेस में अगर इंडेक्स्ड है, इसमें फिर आपको देखना होगा कि कौन से क्वार्टाइल में है, Q1, Q2, Q3। तो कुछ जर्नल्स Q3 में रहते हैं और 6 महीने बाद देखोगे तो आप वहां से भी डिलीट हो जाते हैं,
वहां से भी हो जाते हैं। और इसको बस तो सर आजकल इंडेक्सिंग बहुत से गायब भी हो जाते हैं, जैसे अभी
गायब हो
प्रेजेंट में तो है, नेक्स्ट ईयर नहीं होगा,
यस यस
लेकिन वेब ऑफ साइंस है वो थोड़ा सस्टेन करता है, वो गायब नहीं होते।
यस सर, यस सर। तो यही आपको देखना होता है। तो सिर्फ इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर देख के नहीं चलेगा, क्योंकि इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर जैसे मैंने कहा वो भी मैनिपुलेट होता है ना। तो इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर देखिए आप, ऐसा मैं नहीं कह रहा हूँ, लेकिन इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर डजंट मीन दैट इट इज अ क्वालिटी जर्नल। तो उसका सोर्स क्या है, पर्टिकुलरली स्प्रिंजर है या ये आपके जो एल्सवेयर है, ये पब्लिकेशन है तो डेफिनेटली अच्छे हैं सर। ठीक है।
हाँ, कुछ जो पब्लिकेशन है रेपुटेड है उन पर ट्रस्ट किया जा सकता है,
किया
जैसे
जा
MDPI है,
यस
हिंडा भी है, इनके
बिल्कुल।
नाम से ही कुछ ऐसा अजीब सा लगता है मुझे तो।
और भी बहुत से हैं सर, कंप्यूटर्स में तो बहुत लंबी चौड़ी लिस्ट है हमारी, तो
हाँ
हर
बिल्कुल,
6 महीने
एग्जैक्टली। कंप्यूटर में तो ज्यादा है सर, बिल्कुल सही कह
बहुत
रहे हैं आप,
ज्यादा,
क्योंकि अभी
बहुत
न्यू सब्जेक्ट आया है, न्यू इसमें
जी
फाइंडिंग हो रही है, रिसर्च में
जी
भी सब कुछ
जी,
न्यू चल रहा है, तो वहां पे सब कुछ।
बहुत कुछ है सर, बहुत कुछ है जी।
सर तो इसका कोई इजी तरीका बताइए कि हम अपना जर्नल कैसे चूज करें पब्लिशिंग के लिए।
जर्नल चूज कर रहे हैं तो मैडम आप जर्नल के होम पेज पे जाइए पहले और उसका इंडेक्सिंग देखिए। आप मेरे ख्याल से, लेकिन पूनम मैडम बोल रही हैं शायद।
जी सर,
जी, तो आप
मुझे साहित्य के ज्यादा छपाने होते हैं तो।
साहित्य में मैडम एज सच आपका इंडेक्सिंग का मुझे थोड़ा सा उतना आइडिया नहीं है, लेकिन मेरे ख्याल से इंडेक्सिंग उतना आपका स्कूपस इंडेक्स और ये तो रहता नहीं है मेरे ख्याल से, जहां तक मुझे पता है। साहित्य में ISBN और ISSN नंबर रहता है बस। ठीक
जी
है।
जी
तो आपके लिए ISBN ISSN ही काफी है मैडम, मुझे नहीं लगता आपके लिए इंडाइसेस होंगे भी, तो आई एम नॉट अवेयर, आई एम सॉरी, है ना। आपके डोमेन में मुझे थोड़ा सा उतना ज्ञान नहीं है।
जी सर। सर थोड़ा सा एक रिक्वेस्ट होगी, अगले सेशन में बायोलिंगुअली थोड़ा सा।
अरे सॉरी मैं हिंदी काफी अच्छी बोल लेता हूँ, कोई मसला नहीं है।
आपकी हिंदी अच्छी है, लेकिन यहाँ सभी लोग हैं ना, तो
जी,
बायोलिंगुअल ठीक रहेगा थोड़ा सा।
अच्छा ऐसा करेंगे, अगला सेशन थोड़ा हिंदी में लेंगे क्या, अर्ज है?
जी जी जी,
चलेगा
थैंक यू सर।
चलेगा चलेगा चलेगा, नो प्रॉब्लम। चलिए, और कुछ क्वेश्चंस? एक्चुअली देखिए, ये जो NEP ओरिएंटेशन सेंसिटाइजेशन है, इसकी मॉडलिटी थोड़ी डिफरेंट है। मैं खुद डायरेक्टर हूँ इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ आप लोगों को। इसमें 1 घंटे का सेशन एक्सपेक्टेड है और आधा घंटा थोड़ा सा डिस्कशन होना जरूरी है। ठीक है, वो इंटेंशनली इसीलिए रखा गया है कि भाई यानी थोड़ा सा ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग हो आप लोगों के कुछ, यानी क्योंकि
नहीं
थोड़ी सी चीजें हैं। जी बोलिए।
सर, क्लियर भी हो रहा है, चीजें हमारी क्लियर होती हैं, डिस्कशन से ज्यादा क्लियर होती हैं,
सही में
तो वो सही है। और आपका भले मुझे इंग्लिश भी बहुत इजी लगी ऐसा नहीं है, मुझे समझ में आ रहा था, लेकिन क्योंकि मैं हिंदी की हूँ तो मुझे थोड़ा अच्छा लगता है
हिंदी में बात
हिंदी में।
करेंगे अगली बार
ओके
मैडम, लेकिन थोड़ी सी AI पे बात करेंगे तो हिंदी में बात
जी
करेंगे।
जी
AI के
जी
टूल्स बताएंगे आपको कुछ छोटे मोटे।
जी,
ठीक है,
थैंक यू सर।
सर्च के लिए कुछ टूल्स बताएंगे जी, और हिंदी में बात करेंगे, कोई मसला नहीं।
Good evening, sir.
गुड इवनिंग मैम, बोलिए
Sir, this is Anisha. I'm from Kerala.
जी।
I'm a teacher in botany, sir. Sir, I just wanted to know, since this care listing has been discontinued by the UGC,
Yes.
so now when we are trying to select journals for publishing, definitely WS and Scopus are benchmarks, but
Okay.
what about other journals? Because all papers may not to the level
Okay.
of Scopus or WS. So how do we select journals?
Madam, selecting a particular journal is basically, it has to be, matlab, you need to, I hope you are comfortable in English, है ना? So since you are from
Both
South,
languages are okay, sir.
अच्छा,
No
Hindi
problem.
is again okay, no problem.
I was in Aligarh, sir. So
Is it?
till my +2 I was there. I did
Okay.
+2 from AMU only, sir.
Okay. So you are a alumni of AMU, then Hindi is
Yes,
again
sir.
not a problem.
Proud to be like that.
Proud, yes. It is one of the premier institution, no doubt
Yes,
about
sir.
it.
Yes, sir.
तो जैसा कि मैंने कहा आपको, देखिए इंडेक्सिंग एक चीज है, इंडेक्सिंग के अलावा भी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो आप देख सकते हैं। आप कौन से डिसिप्लिन से हैं मैडम?
जी,
केमिस्ट्री,
botany.
बॉटनी से आप, मतलब साइंस से, लाइफ साइंसेस से हैं। तो लाइफ साइंसेस में एज सच सबसे पहली चीज तो आप पब्लिशिंग हाउस पे थोड़ी सी नजर रखिए। जैसा कि अब इसमें दोनों चीजें होती हैं, जरूरी नहीं कि स्कोपस इंडेक्स हो। जैसे कि इंडर साइंस करके एक ग्रुप है, इंडर साइंस, INDERSCIENCE, इंडर
Yes,
साइंस।
sir.
हाँ,
Yes, sir. Recently, my paper got rejected from that.
नहीं तो उससे हताश मत होइए आप। उनका थोड़ा सा रिव्यू प्रोसेस थोड़ा सा स्ट्रांग है, लेकिन आप कोशिश करिए, काफी अच्छा ग्रुप है। और जैसे वहां पे भी आपको कुछ स्कोपस इंडेक्स मिलेंगे, कुछ विदाउट स्कोपस भी मिलेंगे, ठीक है। और उसमें तो यहाँ तक ओपननेस है, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, कि आपको ही रिव्यूअर सजेस्ट करने पड़ते हैं,
Yes,
ठीक
sir.
है, ठीक है ना। तो यानी वो इतने ओपन है, लेकिन रिव्यू प्रोसेस उनका थोड़ा सा स्ट्रांग है, ठीक है ना। तो मोस्टली वो आपके सजेस्टेड रिव्यूअर्स में से भी भेजते हैं किसी को, और कुछ लोगों को अदर देन आपकी जो सजेस्टेड है उनको भी भेजते हैं। लेकिन वो एक अच्छा इंडर साइंस अच्छा ग्रुप है जिसको आप एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हैं। इसके अलावा आप थोड़े, जैसे मैंने कहा कि जो अच्छे पब्लिशिंग हाउस है उन पे नजर बनाए रखिए। उसमें बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस है मैडम, आपके लाइफ साइंसेस में मैं एम नॉट बता नहीं पाऊंगा, लेकिन जैसे कंप्यूटर साइंस में इसमें तो बहुत सी पॉसिबिलिटीज है। ओपन एक्सेस जर्नल भी, इवन स्प्रिंजर के बहुत सारे ओपन एक्सेस जर्नल्स है जहाँ पे कोई कॉस्ट, कोई इंडेक्सिंग का भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, और फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट पब्लिश करते हैं। तो उसको एक्सप्लोर करिए आप थोड़े से। ओपन एक्सेस पे भी बात कर, मैं इसीलिए सर को जो पूछ रहे थे सर को यही कहा कि हर ओपन एक्सेस जर्नल खराब है ये गलत है, हर ओपन एक्सेस जर्नल अच्छा है ये भी गलत है, ठीक है। लेकिन
Yes,
आपको वो पर्टिकुलर जर्नल को एक्सप्लोर करना है, ठीक है।
सर ये क्वेश्चन मैंने दो एस्पेक्ट से पूछा है, क्योंकि हम पब्लिश करते हैं उस समय हमको ये दिक्कत आती है कि पब्लिश करने के बाद व्हेन इट विल बी असेस्ड और व्हेन इट विल इट फेच मी एनी पॉइंट्स एट अ लेटर असेसमेंट प्रोसीजर। दूसरी बात ये है कि कभी कभी हम लोग भी कमिटीज में होते हैं वेयर वी नीड टू डू वेरिफिकेशन। उस समय जब कैंडिडेट्स के पेपर्स आते हैं, टिल नाउ यूजीसी केयर वाज देयर एज अ रेफरेंस. So how do we go about doing all these kinds of things in future, sir?
ये आपने बड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड, ये मैं भी फेस करता हूँ ये सारे प्रॉब्लम्स। तो ये इंडिविजुअल केस टू केस बेसिस पर ही करना होता है मैडम, क्योंकि
ये
इसमें
ना लेटर
इसमें
स्टेज पे कंट्रोवर्सी हो सकती है, कभी हमने उसको पॉइंट दिया नहीं दिया करके
मैं समझ रहा
कंट्रोवर्सी हो
हूँ, मैं
सकती
समझ
है.
रहा हूँ आप क्या बोल रहे हैं, आपका इशारा किस तरफ है मैंने भी फेस की है कई बार। तो कई बार प्रेशर रहता है आप पे कि अरे नहीं ये तो इसमें आता है वगैरह वगैरह।
Yes, sir.
तो चीजें हैं वो, लेकिन अब उसका कोई स्टैंडर्ड और ऐसा कोई हार्ड कोडेड रूल नहीं है जो मैं आपको कहूँ कि भाई आप ये लीजिए और इस तरह से करिए। तो ये आपको दूसरी चीजें भी आप देख सकते हैं, उसका साइटेशन देख सकते हैं, उसके अलावा आप यानी वो पर्टिकुलर पेपर का भी, ठीक है
Okay,
ना।
sir.
तो उसका अगर साइटेशन काउंट ठीक ठाक है तो यू मे कंसिडर इट। तो ये
Okay.
डिस्क्रिशनरी है मैडम, इस पे कोई यानी ऐसा बहुत, क्योंकि अभी क्या हो गया यूजीसी केयर लिस्ट थोड़ा सा वो होने से अपने लिए बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम क्रॉप अप हो गए।
Yes, sir.
अब सिवाय इंडेक्सिंग के और कुछ नहीं रहा। तो इंडेक्सिंग में फिर इंडाइसेस बोले तो स्कोपस है और आपके बाकी के इंडाइसेस है। तो इवन कॉन्फ्रेंस भी है तो स्कोपस इंडेक्स है, तो आप कंसिडर करिए।
Okay,
अगर
sir.
कोई लोकल कॉन्फ्रेंस है, इवन दो दे आर क्लेमिंग दैट इट इज अ इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस, तो उसको आप रिजेक्ट कर सकते हैं, है कि
Okay, sir.
नहीं? इस तरह से कर सकते हैं।
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Sir, good evening.
Good evening.
Sir, a slight deviation from what you are saying. Just I'm sharing, an observation or what I came to know. Say, I'm an English faculty, sir, working in a university, but we are talking about plagiarism and how we need to check and be conscious. When I was in my undergrad and all, we talk about Shakespeare the Great. And there we were told he is a great man. He rewrote the plays of other writers and he's a world-renowned poet and everything. By the way, all his plays are plagiarized, sir.
Oh.
All his plays are plagiarized. He only copied from others.
Is it?
So, but they say he's a great man, he's a genius and all. ये कैसा है sir? When the West does it, we say it's great, he is innovative, he's not aware of all this, and we are blamed. And the other observation is, in India we have this tendency to normalize everything. तो सभी को एक to bring it to one level, we
Yeah,
say
I
you
got
have to do this. Suddenly
I-
you want the research to be brilliant. It doesn't happen, no, sir. I've seen how some of my colleagues and others also struggle. We have given them so much of leeway till now.
Definitely.
Suddenly you want a quality paper, it doesn't happen. And since you said you are from the director side and all.
Actually, madam, you are very right. As a matter of fact, up to some extent, as I have told you, that is, it should not be. My personal opinion I am giving you. Okay, see, everybody is not having that research instinct.
Yes.
है ना? So it is not necessary again to be a good teacher. You should not necessarily be a good researcher.
Yes.
All of you agree with me, है ना? तो लेकिन कैसा हो गया है अभी? अब ये जो accreditation आ गया है, अगर आप इसकी chronology देखें, तो why this it has been made compulsory? Because NBA is there, NAC is there, okay, and they ask for these things, okay, and that's why we have to rush for it. That is the only reason. लेकिन ये मुझे भी कहीं कहीं लगता है, क्योंकि देखिए बहुत सारी अब हमारे डोमेन में तो क्या है, अप्लाइड रिसर्च है ना? तो अब अगर आप थोड़ा सा देखें, मुझे आपने कंपल्सरीली बोल दिया कि 2 पेटेंट निकालने हैं, लेकिन वो पेटेंट मैं फाइल तो कर देता हूँ, है ना? आई होप यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड हिंदी. तो आई विल फाइल इट, बट whether those patent will be granted to me, again there is a question mark. And let's say even if it is granted to you, whether that patent is of any utility when it comes to transforming that in the form of a product. तो अभी अपने यहाँ क्या हो रहा है कि अपन सब पेटेंट के पीछे हैं, तो we are filing a number of patents, right? And then what is happening when it comes to grant of those patents, hardly 5% of them they are granted. Okay. And then when it comes to the you can say launching them in the form of a product, okay, not more than 1%. So that itself indicate what kind of quality we are producing. I hope you are getting me.
True sir, true sir.
तो ये हो रहा है, लेकिन अब क्या करें, इसके लिए कुछ नहीं है. ये एक्रेडिटेशन है और ये सारी चीजें हैं, इसलिए सब चीजें लगी हैं आपके मेरे पीछे.
Sir, why don't we have our own kind of system of whether it is publishing or standard set? Why do we have to always ape the West?
Yes.
Because,
that is again, that is, you are very right.
When I was going through which publication, like Anisha ma'am was saying, I struggled a lot to understand where to publish and all that. And due to some constraints and all, we have to share papers. All that is there, sir. But I'm saying we hear about how Wiley and elsewhere are fighting, and all. Why can't we have our own? Maybe it will take time.
There is a need, madam.
Yeah.
We need to think on these things.
You have said about patents, sir. India, which has a patent on everything, has given up so many things. The West says turmeric is ours, this is ours, tulsi is ours. We should also have some place to put an end to this. Thank you, sir. But it was very interesting, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you a lot.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.